My story began one Sunday morning when I woke up with a sudden burst of rebellion. It was like my conscience grabbed me by the shoulders and shook me awake. Get up! Do something for yourself today. It's Sunday, and here you are planning to spend another day slaving away in that kitchen, making enough food to feed a small army while everyone else relaxes. Nobody even says thank you. For once in your life, go out, grab some fast food, sit in a park, and just be. I'm Emma, the eldest daughter in the Mitchell family, which apparently comes with an invisible contract that says unpaid household servant in fine print. I'm 23 years old, and my life revolves around that kitchen like I'm tethered to the stove by an invisible chain. Every Sunday is my personal purgatory. While normal people go to church, have brunch with friends, or binge-watch Netflix in their pyjamas, I'm in the kitchen from dawn until dusk, meal prepping for the entire week, because God forbid anyone else in this family learns how to operate a microwave. Let me paint you a picture of my life. I have a younger brother, Ryan, who's 19, and studying engineering at the local college. Then there are my twin sisters, Madison and Mackenzie, both 17 and in their senior year of high school. All three of them are pursuing their dreams while I'm stuck pursuing the perfect roast chicken recipe. I studied business administration for 2 years before dropping out. The official story is that college wasn't for me, but the truth is more complicated. I had anxiety, struggled with the pressure, and when I suggested taking a gap year, my parents jumped at the chance to have a full-time household manager. That was 3 years ago. Now I'm branded as the family's domestic goddess, a title that sounds a lot better than what it really means: unpaid labour. My daily routine is depressingly predictable. Wake up, check what's in the fridge, plan meals, make grocery lists, cook breakfast, clean up, prep lunch, clean up, start dinner, clean up, rinse and repeat. If anyone dares to question my siblings about helping with chores, they get shut down immediately. Talk to Emma, she handles all that. I've become a verb in this house. Just Emma it means dump it on me and forget about it. My mother, Patricia Mitchell, is a real estate agent who discovered the joy of delegation the day I dropped out of college. She treats me like she won the lottery, a live-in maid who doesn't require a salary. She comes home from showing houses, kicks off her heels, pours herself a glass of wine, and asks what's for dinner, like she's at a restaurant. "Emma, darling," she'll say, settling into her favourite armchair, "I hope you made that pot roast I like. You know, the one with the little potatoes. And did you remember to pick up my dry cleaning?" When I try to bring up fairness or suggest that maybe, just maybe, my siblings could help out, she has a whole speech prepared. "Well, Emma, you chose to leave college. You said you couldn't handle it. Remember how you begged me to let you stay home? Mum, please, I just need some time to figure things out." Well, this is figuring it out. At least you're contributing to the household instead of wasting money on tuition. She conveniently forgets that some time was supposed to be a semester, not a lifetime sentence. My father, Robert Mitchell, is marginally better, but ultimately useless in these battles. He's an accountant who treats our house like a hotel with really good room service. He's perfected the art of strategic incompetence, burning toast so badly that Mum banned him from the kitchen, thus ensuring his permanent exemption from cooking duties. But here's the weird thing about Dad and me. Since I'm always around, I've become his buddy by default. He'll come home from work and plop down at the kitchen island while I'm cooking, telling me about his day like I'm his therapist. "You wouldn't believe what Johnson did at the office today," he'll start, loosening his tie. "Tried to expense his kid's birthday party as a client event. Can you believe that?" And I'll listen and nod while chopping vegetables, because what else am I going to do? At least with Dad, I feel like a person rather than a kitchen appliance. My siblings have curfews and rules and have to explain where they're going. Me? Dad just waves and says, "Be safe, kiddo," like I'm his poker buddy heading out for the night. Now, let me tell you about our sacred Sunday routine, which is more rigid than military protocol. Sunday mornings in the Mitchell household follow a precise schedule. 7 a.m. Dad wakes up, showers, and puts on his Sunday best. Khakis that haven't fit properly since 2015, and a polo shirt that's always tucked in too tight, making him look like an overstuffed sausage. He thinks he looks like a golf pro. He looks like a dad trying to look like a golf pro. 7:30 a.m. Mum emerges in her Sunday power outfit, designer jeans, a cashmere sweater, and enough jewellery to stock a small boutique. She calls it casual elegance. I call it showing off at church. 8 a.m. The twins stumble downstairs in coordinated outfits, because God forbid they don't match even on weekends. 8:30 a.m. Ryan appears, usually in whatever he wore yesterday, because it's still clean, Emma. 9 a.m. The family loads into Dad's SUV for church, leaving me behind because someone needs to prepare Sunday dinner. That someone is always me. From 9 a.m. to 2 p.m, I have the house to myself. But am I relaxing? Number, I'm preparing a feast that would make Gordon Ramsay weep. Sunday dinner is serious business in the Mitchell house. We're talking roast beef with all the trimmings, homemade Yorkshire puddings, roasted vegetables, mashed potatoes, gravy made from scratch, and at least 2 desserts. Because heaven forbid we only have one option. Mum insists on this elaborate spread because Sunday dinner is a family tradition. Funny how the tradition doesn't extend to family members actually helping prepare it? By the time they return from church, the house smells like a 5-star restaurant. They walk in, and do I get a thank you? Do I get appreciation? Number I get, "Emma, the roast looks a little overdone." "Emma, why didn't you make the green beans the way I like them?" "Emma, is this all there is for dessert?" Every single Sunday. This particular Sunday, the one where my story really begins, I'd had enough. I woke up and thought, screw this, screw the roast, screw the Yorkshire puddings, screw all of it. I wanted to walk out that door and not come back until bedtime. I wanted to eat a burger in peace, maybe see a movie, do something, anything that didn't involve wearing an apron. I announced my rebellion at breakfast. "I'm not cooking today," I said, standing in the kitchen doorway like a gunslinger in an old western. "You'll have to fend for yourselves. I'm taking a personal day." The silence was deafening. You'd think I'd announced I was joining a cult. Mum recovered first. "Don't be ridiculous, Emma. We have Sunday dinner. We always have Sunday dinner." "Then maybe someone else can make it," I suggested, my voice shaking but determined. Ryan laughed. Actually laughed. "Good one, Em." "What's really going on? Did you burn something?" The twins didn't even look up from their phones. "But Dad surprised me." "Let her go," he said, folding his newspaper. "Kid works hard all week. If she wants a day off, she should have one. We can order pizza or something." Mum's face went through several expressions before settling on resigned annoyance. "Fine, but don't come crying to me when you're hungry later." I didn't wait for her to change her mind. I grabbed my purse and left. Walking down our tree-lined suburban street on a Sunday morning felt surreal. I saw neighbours washing cars, kids playing in yards, normal people doing normal weekend things. When was the last time I'd done something just for fun on a Sunday? I ended up at a small cafe downtown, one of those trendy places with exposed brick walls and overpriced coffee. I ordered a latte and a croissant and sat by the window watching people pass by. It was heavenly. That's where I met Mrs. Chen. She was sitting at the next table, a well-dressed woman in her 50s, talking animatedly on her phone. I couldn't help but overhear. She was practically yelling. "No, I will not settle. They stole from me. Yes, my niece. I know she took it. What do you mean I need proof? I know what I know." She hung up and slammed her phone on the table, then noticed me watching. "I'm sorry," I said quickly. "I didn't mean to eavesdrop." She waved dismissively. "Oh, honey, half the cafe heard me. I'm just so frustrated." She looked at me more closely. "You seem like a nice girl. Can I tell you something? Never trust family with your valuables. Never!" And just like that, I was sucked into Mrs. Chen's drama. It's a thing with me. I can't help but get involved in other people's problems. My friend Grace calls it my helper complex. I call it being a decent human being. Mrs. Chen told me her whole story. Her niece, Amy, had been staying with her for the summer. A jewellery box went missing, an antique worth thousands. She knew Amy took it but couldn't prove it. "I just need someone to back me up," she said, her eyes lighting up with an idea I should have seen coming. "You could be my witness. You could say you saw her with the jewellery." Warning bells should have gone off. Sirens should have wailed. But I was 23, rebellious from my morning escape, and had watched too many crime dramas where the underdog gets justice. Plus, Mrs. Chen reminded me of my grandmother. The same perfectly styled hair, the same designer handbag, the same air of righteous indignation. I could do that," I heard myself saying. Her face lit up like Christmas morning. "Really? Oh, you're an angel. Come on, we'll go to the police station right now." And that's how I found myself on my first day of freedom in months, walking into a police station to commit what I would later learn was a felony. The station smelled like burnt coffee and disappointment. Mrs. Chen marched up to the desk sergeant like she owned the place. "I need to file a report about a theft, and this young lady is my witness." The sergeant, a tired-looking man with a moustache that belonged in the 1980s, looked at me skeptically. "And you are?" "Emma Mitchell," I squeaked. "She saw my niece steal my jewellery," Mrs. Chen announced triumphantly. The sergeant's eyebrows rose. "Is that so? When did this happen, Miss Mitchell?" That's when my brain finally kicked in. When? Where? How? I knew none of these crucial details. I stood there, mouth open, probably looking like a fish out of water. A female officer appeared, tall and intimidating, with eyes that seemed to see right through me. "Officer Martinez," her badge said. "Miss Mitchell, can I speak with you privately?" She led me to a small room that wasn't quite an interrogation room, but wasn't far off. My heart was pounding so hard I was sure she could hear it. "So," Officer Martinez said, sitting across from me, "tell me exactly what you saw." Well, "You know what I think?" she interrupted. "I think you just met Mrs. Chen today. I think you've never seen her niece in your life, and I think you're about 5 seconds away from committing perjury." I crumbled like a stale cookie. I just wanted to help. She seemed so upset, and I thought... "You thought wrong." Officer Martinez's voice was firm but not unkind. "Do you have any idea what filing a false police report means? We're talking potential jail time, a criminal record, your whole future derailed because you wanted to help a stranger." Tears started rolling down my cheeks. How had my day of freedom turned into this? "Listen," she said, her voice softening slightly. "You seem like a good kid who made a stupid decision. I'm going to pretend this conversation never happened. You're going to walk out of here, go home, and never do something this idiotic again. Understood?" I nodded frantically. "And stay away from Mrs. Chen. This isn't her first rodeo with creative witnesses." I practically ran out of that station. Mrs. Chen called after me, but I didn't stop. I just kept walking, my mind racing. How could I have been so stupid? so eager to help that I almost committed a crime. I found myself in the park, sitting on a bench, still shaking. My phone buzzed with texts from home. Mum, where are you? It's past dinner time. Ryan, Mum's freaking out. Also, we ordered Chinese. Madison, can you pick up ice cream on your way home? Normal family stuff. My normal life. Suddenly, my kitchen prison didn't seem so bad. At least there, my biggest crime was overcooking vegetables. But this experience, as terrifying as it was, had lit something in me. Not a desire to help random strangers commit fraud. God no. But a realization that I'd been so desperate to matter, to be more than just the family cook, that I'd lost all sense of judgment. When I finally went home that night, the family was scattered around the living room with takeout containers. There she is, Mum announced. Did you have a nice day playing hooky? I looked at them, Mum in her designer loungewear, Dad half asleep in his recliner, Ryan playing video games, the twins taking selfies with their lo mein, and felt a strange mix of frustration and affection. It was educational, I said finally. Well, I hope you got it out of your system, Mum said. The kitchen's a mess from the takeout. Old Emma would have immediately started cleaning. New Emma, the one who'd narrowly avoided a criminal record, had different ideas. You know what? I think I'll start taking Sundays off regularly. You guys can rotate cooking duties. The room went silent except for the sound of Ryan's game. That's not, Mum started. Very fair, I finished. You're right. Me doing all the cooking isn't fair. So, let's make a schedule. Dad looked up from his recliner. I think that's reasonable. And that's how my almost criminal Sunday led to a family revolution. Of sorts. But my story doesn't end there. In fact, it was just the beginning, because a few months later, after I'd successfully maintained my Sunday independence and even enrolled in online classes to finish my degree, my best friend Grace announced she was getting married. Grace and I had been friends since middle school. She was the only one who still treated me like a person with dreams, rather than a kitchen appliance. When she told me about her engagement to Marcus, I was thrilled. They'd been dating since high school, that couple everyone knew would end up together. But here's the thing, Grace said over coffee one day. We're broke, like, seriously broke. Student loans are killing us, and Marcus just started his teaching job. We want to get married, but we can't afford anything fancy. She looked so sad, staring into her latte like it might hold the answer to her financial problems. So, do something small, I suggested. Backyard wedding, close friends and family only? Even that's expensive. Do you know what caterers charge? It's insane. For tiny portions of mediocre food. That's when I had my second brilliant idea of the year. Apparently, I hadn't learned my lesson about overestimating my abilities. I'll cook for your wedding. Grace looked up, hope dawning in her eyes. Really? Really? How hard can it be? I cook for my family all the time. I'll just scale up. Emma, are you sure? Wedding food is different from family dinners. But I was already planning in my head. I'd watched enough Food Network. I'd pinned enough recipes on Pinterest. How different could cooking for 50 people be from cooking for 5? Trust me, I said, with confidence I absolutely didn't deserve. I've got this. Grace hugged me so tight I couldn't breathe. You're the best! Oh my God, this changes everything! We can actually afford a wedding now. Over the next few weeks, we planned the menu. Grace wanted to keep it simple but elegant. Herb roasted chicken, beef tenderloin, roasted vegetables, potatoes au gratin, salad, rolls, and a dessert table. It sounded manageable when we wrote it down. On paper, it was just multiplying my usual Sunday dinner by 10. Easy, right? I even convinced my mum to help. After the police station incident and my newfound backbone, our relationship had shifted slightly. She still treated me like the help most days, but there was a grudging respect now. "Fine," she said when I asked, "but only because Grace is such a sweet girl. Don't expect me to be your sous chef." The wedding was set for a Saturday in October. Perfect autumn weather. Grace's parents' backyard would be transformed with fairy lights and rented tables. It would be magical. I spent the 2 weeks before the wedding watching cooking videos, reading professional catering blogs, and making detailed prep lists. I was determined to prove I could do this. I even did a trial run with a single chicken, which turned out perfectly. "See?" I told my reflection, admiring my golden brown test chicken. "You've got this." The Friday before the wedding, Grace's family had everything delivered to their house. Pounds of chicken breasts, whole beef tenderloins, bags of potatoes, crates of vegetables. Looking at it all stacked in their garage, I felt the first flutter of panic. It was so much food. Much food. "You okay?" Grace asked, finding me staring at the mountain of ingredients. "Totally fine," I lied, just visualizing the process. I spent that night at Grace's house, prepping what I could. I trimmed vegetables until my hands cramped, seasoned what felt like 100 chicken breasts, and prepped the beef with shaking hands. By 3 a.m., I'd managed to get everything ready for the next day's cooking marathon. I dozed fitfully on the couch, dreaming about chickens staging a revolt and vegetables forming an army against me. When I woke at dawn, my back ached and my hands smelled permanently of garlic. But I was ready. Or so I thought. The morning started well enough. I got the beef in the oven first, low and slow, just like the YouTube videos said. Then I started on the vegetables, chopping and seasoning like my life depended on it. Grace's mum, Linda, popped in occasionally, offering help I was too proud to accept. "Are you sure you don't need an extra pair of hands?" she asked, watching me juggle multiple tasks. "Nope. Everything's under control," I chirped, sweat already beading on my forehead despite the cool morning. By noon, things were starting to unravel. The kitchen was a disaster zone. Every surface was covered with dishes, cutting boards, and ingredients. The beef was cooking faster than expected. The vegetables were taking longer, and I hadn't even started the chicken yet. Mum arrived fashionably late, took one look at the chaos and sighed dramatically. "This is exactly what I expected." "Then help," I snapped, stress making me brave. She rolled her eyes but tied on an apron. For the next hour, we worked in tense silence, her chopping potatoes while I frantically tried to manage everything else. Then disaster struck. I'd put the chicken breasts in the oven, all of them, crammed onto sheet pans because I'd run out of space and time. The recipe said 25 minutes at 375 degrees. I set the timer and turned to start the potatoes au gratin. "Is something burning?" Mum asked 20 minutes later. I yanked open the oven to find horror. The chicken wasn't just cooked, it was cremated. The edges were black, the tops were leather, and the smell was indescribable. "No, no, no!" I pulled out tray after tray of ruined chicken. How had this happened? The recipe said 25 minutes. "You overcrowded the pans," Mum said unhelpfully. "And that oven runs hot. Anyone could see that." Grace's mum rushed in at my wail of despair. She took one look at the charred chicken, and her face went pale. "The guests arrive in 2 hours," she said faintly. I stood there, surrounded by smoking ruins of what should have been the main course, and felt tears rolling down my cheeks. I'd ruined my best friend's wedding. She'd trusted me, and I'd destroyed everything. "I'm so sorry," I sobbed. "I thought I could do this. I'm so sorry." Grace appeared in the doorway, still in her robe, hair in curlers. She surveyed the disaster zone that was her kitchen, the cremated chicken, her crying mother, my crying face, and my stone-faced mother. "Okay," she said, surprisingly calm. "Marcus, get your keys. Mom, call that Italian place on Main Street. Emma, stop crying and help me figure out how much chicken we need to order." The next hour was a blur of phone calls, credit cards, and emergency food runs. Marcus and his groomsmen drove to 3 different restaurants, ordering whatever chicken dishes they could get in bulk. Grace's dad ran to the grocery store for aluminum pans to transfer everything into. Linda and my mum somehow salvaged the beef and vegetables. By some miracle, when the guests arrived, a passable buffet was waiting. The chicken was clearly restaurant-bought, a mix of chicken parmesan, marsala, and piccata that didn't match at all, but it was hot and edible. The beef was actually good, probably because I'd started it early enough that Mum could save it. The vegetables were fine, if a bit unevenly cooked. Grace found me hiding in the laundry room during the reception, still wearing my flour-covered clothes. "Hey," she said, squeezing in beside me. "You okay?" "I ruined your wedding," I mumbled. "No, you gave me a wedding story I'll tell forever. Remember when my best friend tried to cook for 50 people and nearly burned down my parents' kitchen? Classic." "You're not mad." "Emma, you tried to do something incredibly generous and sweet. So you're not a caterer. So what? You're an amazing friend." She hugged me, getting flour all over her reception dress, which made us both laugh. "Besides," she added, "the Italian chicken was actually really good. Maybe we should have just planned that from the start." I did eventually emerge from the laundry room, changed into the spare clothes I'd brought, and joined the reception. The guests were having a wonderful time, dancing and laughing. Nobody seemed to care that the chicken was obviously from 3 different restaurants. But the story doesn't end there either. A year later, Grace was pregnant with her first child, and I was finally finishing my business degree online while working part-time at a local marketing firm. I'd moved into my own apartment, tiny but mine, and Sunday dinners at my parents' house had become optional rather than obligatory. "Remember the wedding?" Grace asked one day over lunch. We could laugh about it now. How could I forget? I still can't look at chicken parmesan without flashbacks. You know what the funny thing is? That disaster taught me something important. What's that? That it's okay to ask for help, to admit when something's too big to handle alone. You tried to be superhero chef, and I let you because I wanted to believe it would work out. We both learned that day. She was right. That wedding disaster had been a turning point for me. Not just because I'd failed spectacularly, but because I'd finally understood my pattern, taking on impossible tasks to prove my worth, then crumbling under the pressure. These days, I still cook, but for myself, on my own terms. Sunday dinners with my family happen once a month now, and everyone contributes something. Mum discovered she actually enjoys making salads when she's not expected to do everything. Dad makes surprisingly good garlic bread. Even the twins learn to bake, though their cookies are more Instagram-worthy than edible. And Ryan. Well, he's still useless in the kitchen, but he sets the table and does dishes without being asked. Progress. As for my helping complex, it's still there, but tempered with something I lacked before. Boundaries. I help when I can, how I can, within my actual abilities. No more false witness statements, no more catering weddings, just normal, reasonable help. Though I did recently offer to make cupcakes for Grace's baby shower. Just cupcakes, from a mix. With backup cupcakes from a bakery, just in case. Because that's growth, right? Knowing your limits but still trying, still showing up, still being willing to help, just with a healthy dose of reality mixed in. The kitchen that once felt like my prison is now just a room in my apartment where I make meals I actually want to eat. And Sundays? Sundays are for farmers, markets, and brunch with friends, for reading in the park or binge-watching shows in my pajamas. Sundays are mine now, and I'll never take that for granted again. Looking back, I can trace a direct line from that desperate Sunday morning when I first rebelled, through the police station panic, to the wedding disaster, to where I am now. Each mistake taught me something. Each disaster pushed me to grow. Would I change any of it? Maybe the criminal record near miss. That was objectively stupid. But the rest, even the charred chicken? Number, because sometimes you need to fail spectacularly to realise you've been failing quietly all along. My family still jokes about my helping phase, as they call it. Remember when Emma tried to solve everyone's problems? They'll say at holiday dinners. Remember the wedding chicken? And we'll all laugh, even me. But they don't joke about the cooking anymore. Because now, when I cook, it's a choice, not an obligation. When I help, it's because I want to, not because I'm trying to earn my place in the world. And that burnt chicken, it might have been the best thing I ever cooked, in a weird way, because it taught me that sometimes the most helpful thing you can do is admit you're in over your head and order takeout. Grace named her daughter Emma, which made me cry. After my brave friend who isn't afraid to fail, she said, may she inherit your courage, but maybe not your cooking skills. Fair enough. Little Emma can learn from her Aunt Emma's mistakes. And maybe, just maybe, she'll grow up in a world where helping doesn't mean losing yourself, where saying no is as valued as saying yes, and where Sunday dinners are a joy, not a jail sentence. But if she ever offers to cater a wedding solo, I'll be the first to suggest she reconsider. Some lessons don't need to be learned twice. And that's my story. How one Sunday rebellion led to a near arrest, a wedding disaster, and ultimately a life I actually chose, rather than one that chose me. It's messy and imperfect and mine, burnt chicken and all.